We are live. We're back live, people. We're here for our weekly Manchester United show. And today we're taking your discussion points that you sent us on Twitter. We picked out 5 of the best ones that we got, and we will go from there. But guys, today, I'm joined as always, by the one, the only, Matthew McFadden. Matthew, how you doing, bro?
Whoa, what a shock. I'm on the show again.
Yeah, I know, right? It's almost like we're friends or something.
But no, I'm not bad. It's been a tiring day, to say the least, but at least I'm going to be talking about United, which might actually put me to sleep, to be fair.
Listen, I mean, right now, with the way that we're playing, I'd be surprised that you're not asleep already. It's just fair points.
Yeah.
So, but real quick, wanted to shout out, say hi to Doug and Ibrahim. We've of course got Vandy Candy in the chat. We got Chris Beddington and Ryan. Good to see you guys all in here, guys. Let's do this. We're gonna hop right into this. So, the first question that we decided that we wanted to talk about was from our friend Mr. Jamie Pearson, who's at Mr. Jay Pearson on Twitter. And our discussion points are: give us your top 3 candidates for the job after Jose does go, and give us the positives and negatives for each person. That's our first question, that's a hell of a question right there. So, Matthew, I'm going to go to you first. Give me what we'll do is we'll trade off on coaches here. You give me one, and then I'll give you one. And just start with go with your number 3, and then move down the list.
Right. Number 3 would be, could be either one of Eddie Howe or Pochettino. So either of those.
So give me your positives and negatives for them.
Right. So I'll start with Eddie Howe. Positives. Playing style.
Okay.
He's probably the closest thing to Man United that we see in the Premier League right now in terms of playing style. He seems to have a knack of getting late goals. And what he does is he knows that he's not got a great squad, but his man management is perfect. He knows how to get the best out of a not great squad and turning them into an established mid-table Premier League side.
Yeah.
Pros as well. He's quite young. He's only 41, I think.
If I remember correctly, yeah.
At the same time, is the longest serving Premier League manager, which is just weird.
Yeah.
And he's gotten Bournemouth from League One to the Premier League and established them as a mid-table Premier League side, all in the space of about 5 years.
Which all very impressive things. So I mean, what's a negative for Eddie Howe then?
Negative. The first thing that people will say is he's got no big club experience. But then again, you're going to have to get that experience somewhere.
Yeah, that's true.
Not everyone starts off at the top.
So, I mean, not everybody does start off at the top, which is one of those things that is very interesting, you know? He did start off at that League One table. It just built the team up, which is just super impressive with where they're at right now and how they're playing. So, yep. I mean, for me, my number 3 is actually Zinedine Zidane. I mean, and obviously the positive is that he has managed a big club before, and he took them to 3 straight Champions Leagues. But the major negative about Zinedine Zidane is the fact that he did go right into managing a world-class Real Madrid squad. He was literally gifted one of the greatest squads that has probably ever graced the earth of football. And that right there makes a huge, huge difference for me about Zinedine Zidane, because we do not know ultimately what he is as a manager. We don't know if Zidane is somebody that is good because he had the squad there, or if he's good because he's actually a good manager. So for me,
here's something that will debunk that.
Okay.
Why didn't his previous manager succeed?
That's a fair question.
To be fair, his previous manager was Rafa Benitez. So if you put more context into that, that's probably the answer. But still,
I mean, yeah, that's fair. That's a fair question. But at the same time, you know, we don't know what Zinedine Zidane is. That's where my biggest thing is. That's where I don't know what he is, because he did go right into managing one of the top clubs ever. Like, it is what it is. Real quick, so let's see here. Zidane can fight against the rusty board and sort the players out. Eddie can't, Poch can't. That's from AFAF. We don't know if he doesn't get a chance either. That's a fair point, Vandy. That is a fair point. Jay Hart, we've been burned by a Premier League proven manager, burned by a world-class manager. I think it's time to give a chance to a younger manager who can adapt and learn. That's a good point and a good argument for Eddie Howe. Saeed, United Central, by the way, make sure you go sub to his channel. It's awesome seeing him, and we're going to get him on the show real soon. We need Pochettino. He's doing amazing on a budget. Let him spend half of what Mourinho has, and you'll see a clear philosophy and players specifically bought for a purpose in the team. Very, very good point. Very good point. But we'll go ahead. Look, Matthew, go to your number 2. Who is your number 2 choice for a manager?
Number 2 is probably your number 1, and that's Poch.
You are right on that.
See, I know this kind of stuff. Right, so Pochettino, positives. My management. The guy bought Dele Alli from League One side, MK Dons, and within half a year turns him into not necessarily a world beater, but a star Premier League player. Name a quicker rise to the top than that, because I can't.
Hey Matthew, real quick, we're getting a call from the Draughty Devil real quick. Let me answer this.
On you go.
What's going on, man? Oh, missed it. Give me 1 second, guys. So Matthew, I'm sorry. Go ahead. So with Pochettino, I mean, yeah, there is a lot of questions about him. So there is the positives of like his playing style and his philosophy, but what would be some of the negatives that you would, bring in?
Right, negatives. I'm in charge of the stream now, so that's good. Negatives, no titles. However, you can easily spin that and say Daniel Levy is I think he's the owner of the club, or at least the CEO or whatever, and he barely gives him a penny to spend. And the biggest negative for me is he willingly went out and spent £30 million on Moussa Sissoko. What manager does that?
Yeah, that's fair.
But to go on the positives again, is my management skills, tactics. He's gotten the best out of a team that have so many kind of tricky number 10 flair players and have managed to fit them all into the one side. So he's got the likes of Lucas Moura, Heung-min Son, Dele Alli, Christian Eriksen, Lamela, all those 5 players, rotating a lot, yet still getting good results from them. And as far as I know, keeping the squad happy. Which I think in this kind of day and age in football, if they've got for a couple of games, then they'll just throw an absolute fit.
Yeah.
Pochettino seems to be good at handling the squad in terms of mentality. But then again, you can easily spin that and say, but he bottles a lot of games.
Yeah.
Which could be another mentality that Spurs have had for 10 years or something? I think the last time you won a trophy is 2008.
No, I mean, listen, the Spurs have been trophyless for a very long time. So that is the one thing that you can say might be an argument against Pochettino. But real quick, guys, wanted to throw him in here because he literally just joined us. The Draughty Devil has joined us, guys. Draughty, how you doing, man?
It's Keith. What are you on about?
Right, need to restart the stream.
Fucking hell, people. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. But, so, Draughty, real quick. So our first question that we got was about the managers and who would be a good next manager to bring in and to give us their top 3 and give positives and negatives. So Matthew and I have already given our number 3. So who would be your number 3 manager?
Jardim.
Jardim? Okay. And so what would be the positives for Jardim?
He's a young manager still. I think he's only 44. He's had a lot of experience with youth at Monaco. Unfortunately, it wasn't his fault. He had to go because, he won the league at a cancer with a PSG side that was full of, billions of from, the Saudi Arabian owners. But yeah, tactically he's very astute. It just didn't end well because they obviously did a fire sale on their entire squad. And you cannot expect a manager to cope with that amount of loss of squad. It was annihilated.
No, it was absolutely.
I feel really bad for Thierry Henry going into that mess because it's a no-win scenario.
It really is. That really was a no-win scenario. Like going into something like that where literally all of your squad was given away. So, but there obviously are negatives that come with Jardim, and what would those negatives be?
I think he's probably tactically naive sometimes. Even in the French league, I know he had his squad decimated, but to be down near the relegation zone in a league that isn't really that competitive, regardless of Olympique Lyonnais and PSG, you've got to say that league, even then with some of the players and the quality they have, they should have been, I don't know, maybe mid-table. And I think he's, on the European front, he's a little bit naive as well. So for me, he's a bit of a risky one.
That's completely fair. So Matthew's number 2 manager was Pochettino, who will actually be my number 1. So who would be your number 2 manager?
Zidane.
Zidane? That was my number 3.
Now, Zidane, for me, you look at Real Madrid at the moment, they got absolutely hammered by CSKA. Now, I know, they were playing some youth players last night, but since Ronaldo and Zidane have gone, the club's gone to hell. How can you go from winning the Champions League 3 years running to all of a sudden being, is it 6th in La Liga at the moment, already losing 5 games this season, losing in the Champions League? They're not a good team right now. Gareth Bale is atrocious. This is 3-time European champions. They haven't really lost anyone. I say not lost anyone. They've lost Ronaldo, but that's one player. And you should say losing one player does not decimate a team. So you kind of then think, well, Zidane, it's not easy to win 3 Champions Leagues in a row. No one's ever done it before in this modern era. And yet he has. Yeah. So he's clearly got something about him. I think he'd only spent in 3 years £80 million, which is unheard of in this modern era. He spent basically next to nothing. And yet he still managed to win 3 Champions League, a La Liga title against a very, very strong Barcelona side. So for me, Zidane, he's got some acumen there.
And those are all very fair points. And there is, I think the negatives to Zidane is probably exactly what I said, that ultimately he was gifted a world-class squad at Real Madrid. And so
the other thing with Zidane is he's got no experience anywhere else. He's never had to build a team by himself. He's never had to deal with youth players in the case of Manchester United. He's never had to take a club that's on the ropes and bring it back up. He was already basically working with one of the best players that's ever lived. And one of the, Modric has just won the Ballon d'Or as well. So you could argue and say, well, he's had the best strikers ever lived and one of the best midfielders of the modern age. Yeah. So really, he already had all the ingredients there anyway. So could he do it with a lesser team? We don't know.
And so, Doug does bring up a good point. I do think that Zidane is waiting to actually go to Juventus. I don't think he's waiting to go to Manchester United. I think he's waiting to go to Juventus and follow Ronaldo to Juventus and manage there. That's just my personal opinion. I obviously have no proof of that whatsoever, guys. But Dradi, I just wanted to say thank you for joining us. I know you joined us a few minutes late, but it's awesome to have you, man. So,
well, I was free, so why not?
Yeah, exactly. So, my number 2 is actually Eddie Howe. I think that what Matthew mentioned about Eddie Howe, with him playing the right football, with him going and bringing a squad that was in League One to being a mid-table club right now is a very, very impressive feat. Very, very impressive. There's always the negative that, ultimately he hasn't been at a club at the size of Manchester United, and that can swallow a lot of people. That right there can kill some managers.
Yeah, well, it's happened before. I mean, look at Dave Sexton. He nearly won the league with QPR, missed out, and he didn't. Came to Manchester United and played arguably the worst football the club's ever seen, bar Jose Mourinho. Ron Atkinson, he was doing very, very well with West Bromwich Albion. He got a shot at the United job. Yes, okay, he won 2 FA Cups. But in the end, he eventually got sacked and was, Sir Alex came in, and we all know what happened there. So it's happened multiple times where a manager has overachieved at a smaller club, gone up to a big club, and it's not quite worked out for them. So it is a risk. I agree.
Yeah. No, and so last but not least, we're going to go to all of our number 1 picks. Matthew, we're going to go to you first since we haven't heard from you in a hot second. Matthew, who's your number 1 manager you would love to see brought into Manchester United?
It's got to be Zidane.
Zidane for you? Okay, completely fair.
He's the dream choice, but seemingly considered realism, I don't know. Because, like you said, he's probably going to go to Juventus so that he can have another 1 or 2 years with Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Like as soon as Ronaldo made that transfer to Juventus, I sort of said into my head, "Yeah, that's Zidane going to Juventus now." I hope I'm wrong, and I hope he goes to United, but like he's probably going to go to Juventus. In terms of pros and cons, pretty much everything that you've just mentioned.
Yeah.
Like, no one wins the Champions League 3 times in a row. That's something that you do in FIFA and you think, oh, that's a good achievement there. Not in real life.
Yeah, real life, if you win 2 in a row, that's like amazing. So to win 3 in a row.
No one did it 2 in a row.
Yeah.
Or at least in the Champions League era.
Like, it's absolutely insane. And real quick, just wanted to shout it out. Ryan Beals, thank you for the fantastic comment. Lee Grant is the next manager. Done. Champions League winners, Premier League winners, guaranteed. Without question. The legend Lee Grant. I don't know why we didn't think of this before. Like, that's my bad. It's my bad.
He's not a human.
Like, genuinely, he's the closest thing we have to a real-life Superman, guys. Come on. Like, I'm sorry. But... So, I mean, obviously Zidane, we've talked about him. Yeah, it might even win the Super Bowl. Yeah, he's bringing Manchester United to all sorts of new height, guys. But obviously all the pros and cons are there. We've all talked about him because we've all talked about Zidane. So, Drawdy, who would be your number 1 pick to replace Mourinho?
This is going to be a shocker, this one. Eddie Howe.
I like it. I like it.
10.
I know we've already spoken about basically we've already described the cons, so I don't need to go over that one again. But thing is with Howe, he's only 41. He has taken them from League 2 all the way up to the Premier League. He is very good at man management. He's worked within a strict budget and he's managed to get that team ticking over, in a high place in a competitive Premier League. There are questions. Could he be? Would the players respect him? Number one, with all their egos and stuff. He's never had to deal with that before. But the thing is, as a manager, you were there to do a job. And if you are employed to be that manager, then the players should automatically give you the respect as manager because you have the power to drop them.
Yeah.
If Pogba suddenly stepped out of line and, started acting up, he could just drop him. Pogba can't do anything about that because at the end of the day, the manager does pick the team and has to officially submit it to the referee. So Eddie Howe, could he take Manchester United forward? Here's the problem. It's a poison chalice right now. You get in someone like Ancelotti, you get in someone like Pochettino. Pochettino has worked within a restricted budget and he has worked with youth. But the problem is with Pochettino, he's a nearly man. He'll get just near it. And let's not forget, they ran Leicester close, right? But it was Leicester, okay? They were in a 2-horse race and he finished second to Leicester. They bottled it.
You finished third, actually.
Say that again?
You finished third, actually. Third in a 2-horse race.
Sorry, I forgot that on the last day. Shit, yeah. But finishing third when you come on, Spurs will never get a better opportunity to win the Premier League than them.
You're absolutely right.
Never, because Liverpool and Man City now are so far ahead of them, they're not going to get there. He missed out. He's never going to get that chance again. So I kind of feel if he goes to Manchester United, expectations are going to be massive again for Pochettino, because everyone's going to be going, oh, he's great with youth. We're going to win this and that. Whereas if you bring in Howe's expectations are going to be on the floor. It's going to be, okay, well, this is going to be a rebuilding squad.
It's one of those things that might take a few years. You're going to be expected to take a few years for something to be built.
Yes.
So, that's fair.
And he's so young, he can grow into the role, Yeah.
Listen, those are some fantastic points, Drani. Like, absolutely fantastic. I mean, so for me, I think Pochettino is my personal number one. And reasons being is that I look at the way that he plays the game and the fact that he obviously got no investment from this year, and he's obviously playing better football than us. That's guaranteed. But to go even further than that, I look at the way that he plays and I look back to the way that Sir Alex did things. And I view them as very, very similar as to who they are. They both play a very similar style of game. They both knew when to go at teams, and they both knew when they both know when they need to kind of shut up shop a little bit and maybe take on a little bit more pressure. To me, I look at that, but then the negatives is always going to be that he has not won anything at any club, despite the fact that he's had some pretty decent teams. But the thing that people also forget about inside of that negative is the fact that he's also been the one to basically create all of his talent. He hasn't had really anybody bought in that has been anybody that he's like, that he has been big name. So I think personally that with Pochettino, somebody that is able to buy maybe the lesser known players and bring them into his philosophy, and he could take this United squad, which it's a personal opinion that I believe that when you come to a club like Manchester United, you're either going to get eaten up by it like David Moyes has, like Mourinho has, like a lot of managers have, or you're going to absorb what is Manchester United and what is the philosophy of Manchester United, and that is to win. And I believe that Pochettino is the person that could potentially absorb that the best because of his similarities to Sir Alex Ferguson. That's just my personal opinion, though. So, honestly, I think it's funny that all of our lists had all the same people on them. But, at the end of the day, we all had a different number one. And I would actually be fine with any of those people being the next manager of Manchester United. If it was Zidane, if it was Poch, or if it was Eddie Howe, I would be fine with any three of those being the next manager. So, guys, we're going to move on to our next question, which actually comes from our favorite Liverpool fan, Douglas James Horn, who's at Enrod. It's going to be ENROHD _1992. And so his discussion point that we really wanted to get into was discuss who is staying and who is going with there being so much deadwood at Manchester United. So I think that what he's kind of bringing in here is who would we get rid of and who would we keep with this current squad. So why not? Drani, we'll go to you first on this one, and maybe we can all just kind of agree or disagree. Maybe that'll be the best way to do this. What do you guys think if I say the name of a player and we'll just go through it that way of players we would get rid of and players we would keep?
Fine.
Okay. So I'm just gonna go to the entire squad. Just do it that way. Squad. Okay. So, David De Gea, I think, is an obvious keep him at all costs.
Yep.
Like
No.
You don't know, like keep at all costs, you don't know?
No, I don't think a keeper is irreplaceable. His form hasn't been as good this season. You know, our defensive record hasn't been that great. Yes, he's made some more world-class saves, but he has shown a bit more frailty this season in terms of commanding his box. And he has been at fault for a few goals. Whether that's just, you know, lack of concentration. I don't think you can say he's unsellable. I don't think anyone is unsellable.
Okay, that's fair.
So, you know, De Gea for me, if someone said, "Oh, who would you replace him with?" Probably Gianluigi Donnarumma.
I like that pick. I like that.
You know, that's just me.
So listen, and ultimately, I get that. I get where you're coming from. For me, I'm always going to choose to just because De Gea has been our savior for the last few years. So it's like I look at him as somebody that needs to be kept at all costs. But if your opinion is that like he isn't irreplaceable, you're absolutely right. He isn't irreplaceable. There's always going to be somebody that can be brought in next.
But here's the thing with De Gea. Okay, if your best player season in, season out is a goalkeeper, you've got major issues.
Very true. Very true.
If you took him out, where would United be in the table right now?
And yeah, that's a scary thought, isn't it?
Imagine if he got injured, like a hand injury in training or something.
Well, listen, we'd have the 100 rated keeper Lee Grant to back him up. I don't know why Lee Grant isn't starting. Let's be real about this. Listen,
yeah, sorry, lads.
Like I said, Superman reincarnate. Come on now, come on. But listen, so I do get that. Like for me, I look at De Gea. I would keep him. As long as it made sense to be able to keep him. But Lee Grant, I mean, kind of like a backup keeper. I mean, I'm kind of like, you know what? Whoever we keep between Lee Grant and Sergio Romero, whatever, you know. I don't think that either one of them are like, you know, oh yeah, we definitely need to keep one of those, or oh, we definitely need to get rid of one of them. It's like whoever we got rid of, whatever, you know.
For me, you could get rid of Romero, and I wouldn't bat an eyelid.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, same. To be fair, Lee Grant's probably actually better than Romero. Romero's one of the riskiest keepers I've seen. As soon as he gets on the ball, he clears it about half a second before someone comes straight at him. And you just kind of have, your heart just skips a beat every single time he clears it.
Yeah, to be honest with you, mate, I would agree with you on Romero. I just think, wasn't he a backup keeper from where we signed him from anyway? And somehow he's
Argentina of that.
I mean, Argentina must have a keeper shortage because if he's their number one, they must have a problem.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right on that. Like from everything that's my understanding, Argentina don't really have a class keeper. So if Sergio Romero is your number one, you obviously have some issues. Oh, so Dan Jones said he was a free agent when we signed him.
Oh, it's not too bad then.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, but I ultimately do agree with you guys. But for me, whoever we kept of those two, I would want De Gea in net every single game, no matter what. Anyways, like. I just don't. I don't care. Put him out there every single week. He's not going to get tired. So I think we're all pretty much going to be on the same page with this one. Valencia, bye. See ya. Get out of here.
Oh my God.
Just rip up his contract now.
There's something I can't stand about Valencia. I've never taken to him. He was signed as Ronaldo's replacement, and some people go, "No, he wasn't." Yes, he was. Okay, it was written in the papers. Even Stralick said it would be a difficult chance for anyone to replace Cristiano.
Yeah.
And that was what Valencia was brought in for.
I mean, when you're a winger and you're signed after Ronaldo leaves and you're given the number 7 shirt, you're, of course, Ronaldo's replacement.
You were going to fail from the beginning there. But
the thing is, he was a massive problem in one of the title run-ins. I remember a game against, was it Blackburn or Wigan, where he completely stuffed up and he couldn't put any crosses in. All he can do is smash his first ball into the defender's shins. That's about it.
Yeah.
He has 1 foot. He's more one-footed than Juan Sebastian Veron. He doesn't, he's not a defender. He's a winger. So how the hell people call him a world-class right back? Your standards must be seriously bad. No, he needs to go.
Yeah. No,
the guy had one amazing season under Jose Mourinho, and people are just going to live off that.
Yeah, but you can't, though, can you?
Exactly, you can.
Real quick, so Chris, try refreshing your stream. Maybe that's what's going on, because I haven't seen anybody else say anything, so maybe it's just you. Try refreshing. See if maybe that'll help you out. But listen, Ronaldo was going to be almost impossible to replace, but the fact that it's Valencia that replaced him and then went on to be Antonio Valencia, that's where the real issue comes in. So, yeah.
I'm amazed he's been at the club 9 years.
Oh, me too, man. To think that
he's going to get a testimonial.
I was going to say he's probably going to get a testimonial. But so will Fellaini at this point.
And Jones will get their own testimonial in one season.
Oh, my God. Think about where we're at, where Phil Jones is going to get a testimonial game for Manchester United.
Ashley Young is quite close to that too. Just have a full back four of testimonial players.
Can we just focus on Phil Jones for a minute?
Oh, believe me, we're gonna get there. We're 3 players away from that, because ultimately these next 2 people, I'm both keep Victor Lindelof and Eric Bailly.
Yeah, keep.
No, I get rid of Bailly.
You'd get rid of Bailly? What? Now, why is that?
Because his injury record, and I don't think he's as good as what everyone makes out to be. His positional sense sometimes can be a bit out. In the game yesterday, I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it. And there's a few people that said, Lindelof out of the 2 is the better defender. Lindelof seems to have grown into it, whereas Bay is taking a long time to settle. So for me at the moment, he's not a starter, put it that way.
Okay, that's fair. If you wanted to say that he's not a starter, for me, he was our best center back 2 seasons ago. And so for me, I'm like, that's where I get frustrated, is I saw somebody that had all the potential in the world and was actually living up to that potential. And all of a sudden he gets dropped from the squad. And you could see that as the game built on yesterday, the confidence started growing in him a bit. But ultimately, if you said Bailly should only be a backup, I would actually be okay with that. Like, if that's what your opinion is, that's fine. I do think that he needs to stay, though, because he is still young. You could see that the talent is there. And I would like to see him be given a good chance at getting in there and playing week in, week out. But next up, guys, is the legend that is Phil Jones. Phil Jones, get the fuck out of Manchester United right now. Like, I'm sure that Matthew or Drani will drive down or drive up and pick you up right now and take you to wherever you want to go. Get the hell out of Manchester United.
I'll tell you what, the boy's lucky I don't drive.
Why would I want to pick him up in the car? He's a curse. You're likely to have an accident.
Oh, man. As George Kyle said, burn the witch. Burn the witch. Listen.
You'll probably try and close the door and slam it in his arm, break his arm.
This is one thing I've got to say about footballers. When people say, oh, he's this, he's that, or whatever, they're still people at the end of the day. Don't hate them as people. It's just their footballing ability. And right now, Phil Jones is a gash footballer. I mean, he is comical. So,
well, he lasted 7 years here.
Did you guys see the stat on Twitter that he has scored 5 goals for Manchester United? Yeah. All of them being own goals.
Oh, wasn't it? He scored 5 goals for United and 5 own goals.
Yes. No, it's been 5 own goals. He's only scored 5 own goals for Manchester United. He has never scored a goal for Manchester United, only for the other team. And then,
like our very own Richard Dunn.
Then that stat that I gave you yesterday, Matthew, about the last person to score an own goal in the Champions League was Phil Jones in 2011. That, to me, I'm just like, how? How is he still here? Like, Phil Jones is the definition of stealing a living off of Manchester United. I'm at a loss.
That's fair on him. I really don't think that's fair on him.
It's not fair to him.
No, it's not fair at all, because he's clearly got nudes on his hard drive of Jose.
It's got to be on the Glazers at this point, since he's lasted so long.
Oh, honestly. You could stick a man on a wheelchair in the middle of the pitch and they'd be better than Phil Jones. Guarantee it.
Well, we'll go ahead and we'll move on to our next player, Chris Smalling, who I'm kind of indifferent about. I'm like, if you want to keep him, fine. If you want to get rid of him, fine. I don't mind either way.
No, Chris Smalling, to be fair, he's our best defender.
At the moment,
I don't care what anyone says. Chris Smalling is our best defender. He's our most consistent. He is positionally good most of the time. And if anyone's going to be a rock at the back, it's Smalling. So, yes, okay, he's a little bit reckless at times in terms of he'll pick up a stupid red card at a wrong time, like in an FA Cup final. But to be fair, if you got rid of Chris Smalling, you've got no backup. Where are you going to go to? Rojo?
Okay, that's fair. Just say that he should be a backup. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with him being a backup. I just look at Chris Smalling and think he should not be starting week in, week out for Manchester United.
At the moment, he should be.
Well, yes, at the moment.
He shouldn't be because he's not a world-class centre-back, but at the moment, he is the best we've got.
Fair enough. I mean, Matthew, do you agree, disagree?
100% agree. Like right now, under the current circumstances, you've got to keep him.
Yeah.
However, if we actually want to, compete for every trophy, then he's not a starter.
No. Yeah, and listen, so Reza said he respectfully disagrees with us. Like, listen, ultimately with Chris Smalling, he's lasted a long time at Manchester United. He does come up with the occasional good goal for Manchester United too, which as a center back, that's a good thing. And to me, I think that Chris Smalling is somebody that as a backup is a good backup for Manchester United, but he should not be starting week in, week out. That's just my personal opinion. And I believe that that's the opinion shared between all of us. So Marcus Rojo, I'm kind of like, once again, there's another guy. I'm like, if he's playing as a center back, I'm fine with him staying as a backup. But other than that, I don't think that he should be staying.
He's a bit like Bay in the fact that he's an absolute shithouse of a centre-back. He normally puts in good performances when he actually plays in the middle, but he's always prone to having an absolute howler of a game.
Yeah, I mean, he's prone to that like rash challenge is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, Roddy, what do you think about Rojo?
I don't like him at all. I don't think he's ever been United standard. I didn't like him when he signed. I don't like how he tackles. People go, oh, he's rough and tumble. He gets stuck in and he gets red cards. It's like, he's crap.
No, that's fair.
He's absolutely crap. He's not a centre back. He was more a left back when he was at was it Porto or Sporting?
Sporting, I think.
He's not a good player. He's not a Man United standard player. I still don't know why we signed him. So for me, he's gone out the door straight away. All
right, that's completely fair. And so we actually did get an interesting question here, which I'll ask you guys from the Football Crew show. He asked, would you swap Gary Cahill for Phil Jones?
Oh my God, that's like asking, do you want a kick in the balls or do you want someone to tase you in the balls?
I mean, in fairness, I'll take the kick instead of the tase, but because one, you're going to have to pull out the spikes on him,
Gary Cahill was a better defender than Phil Jones.
That's ultimately what I feel is like if there was a swap for the two, I'm fine with it. But at this end of the day, like I honestly believe that any three of us that are on this show right now are a better center back than Phil Jones. Like genuinely, I think that when he is gone for Manchester United, he'll be lucky to wind up on a championship team.
To be honest, let's not be cruel. I mean, championship teams need better players, not players that are going to make them worse.
I like that. Do you want Anne Hegarty or Susan Boyle for center backs? Like, listen.
Don't you disrespect Susan Boyle.
She's a national treasure.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and so honestly, I think that we're both kind of we're all kind of in the same page of like if Rojo, like I'm not gonna like if he stays as a center back, I'm like whatever, But at the end of the day, we could do better than Rojo. So for me, if he's gone, he's gone. And it sounds with Drotty being so vehement against, I'm honestly like, okay, get him out. I'm fine with that. So Ashley Young, I mean, Ashley Young is somebody that if he was a backup because he's been at the club for so long, I think that he could be a good player to keep around, but only as a backup, not as a starter. I mean, Matthew?
To be honest, I'd just get rid of him.
Okay.
I know Luke Shaw isn't exactly the greatest left back in the world, but recently what people have noticed about Young is the fact that he's got a good cross on him, but we've barely seen that recently. Apart from that assist yesterday, of course, but
yeah,
like he can't really defend. He's not too quick. He'll get you an occasional goal here and there, but it just seems that whatever position he plays in, we're always like, oh yeah, that's not his natural position though. He doesn't really have that one position that he's nailed down. And to be honest, I'd just get rid of him.
Well, and so funny enough, we've got a lot of people saying that they would get rid of Ashley Young, which I'm honestly like, there's another player. I'm like, if you want to get rid of him, that's fine with me. I get wanting to get younger. So, Drotty, I mean, Ashley Young, do you think he's worth keeping?
No, he peaked when Man United played Arsenal 8-2. That was it. After that, it's been downwards. I mean, he was brought in from Watford as a sort of an auxiliary left wide forward-ish. And he's just moved further and further back down the pitch. How the hell he's ended up as a defender, I don't know. Because he's got all the defensive ability of Phil Jones.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. So you know what? Ashley Young, bye. See you later. I'll get outvoted on this one happily. So just, I mean, do you guys, I mean, these next two are both younger players. We've got Delo and Luke Shaw. Would you? I would keep them both without question and start them both without question.
I keep Delo, start him a lot. Luke Shaw, under the current circumstances, start him. But again, it's kind of like Chris Smalling in that if we actually want to be a better squad, don't know about starting Luke Shaw. He seems to go on a good run of like 5-6 games where he puts in good performances and then just gets an injury out of nowhere. But to be fair, in the current squad, Luke Shaw's the best left back.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, Drotty, I mean, I think I heard you say agree with starting them week in, week out.
Well, yeah, because they are natural wide backs.
Okay.
So why would you not play them every week? But I sort of agree with Matthew on Shaw. Unfortunately, I just think his leg break just ruined his confidence. And I don't think he'll ever be the same player again.
That's fair.
So I don't think he'll ever get up to the height of what he would have done had he not had that leg break. I think that's set him back a long time. And in terms of development, it's cost him. So I don't think he's ever going to be a world-class left back. I think he'll be a very good one. But I think United can get better. But I'd keep him as a sort of see where he goes with it.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. I'm personally one that says like keep both, start both, see where it goes. Guys, just, you know, if anybody is having any issues, be sure to refresh the stream. I mean, I've seen a lot of people say they're not having issues, but I've seen a few people say they are. Just try giving the stream a refresh and see if that works for you. So, Matteo Darmian, see ya. Bye.
Don't even want to spend any energy talking about that guy.
Fair enough.
Sort of sidebounds at first.
So, I mean, Drotty, bye. See you later.
So what's the next player?
Okay, fair enough. So next player is one of probably the – I think we're going to get some disparaging opinions right here. Paul Pogba. We're going to go to Drotty first on this one. Drotty, Paul Pogba.
Right. Here's the thing with Pogba. He's clearly a very, very, very talented footballer. He's got world-class vision and he can pick a pass, kind of like Prime Scholes. The only problem with Pogba is he's a bit like, I'm going to put this in a Goldbridge-esque analogy. He's kind of like a Hollywood actor who's been brought into a pantomime. They only know how to do the hard stuff, but when it comes down to doing the simple stuff, they don't want to do it. They don't want to do the small bits. They don't want to do, like, you know, all the stuff that the commoners do. They're high maintenance, and that's all they're used to. That's fine. He's got the talent to do that. Unfortunately, he's pretty bad at the simple things, like keeping it simple. I think he's got a lack of focus. He even said in an interview a couple of weeks ago, maybe it was after Brighton, that he said he has a bit of an attitude problem, that he needs to improve the way he is. I think there's a bit of a culture problem at United at the moment, where the club are pushing social media more than they are the football. And when you look at how he portrays himself, he's an icon to many, many kids. That's not a bad thing at all. He lives clean, he trains well, he keeps good care of himself, like he's athletic. He's clearly he's a nice guy, and he's very generous in what he does in his charity work as well. And he seems a humble guy, but he's also a free spirit. And the problem is at United, free spirits generally get eaten up. And you need someone who's got grit and the determination to win. And I just don't think he's got the fight to be someone like a Roy Keane, who's going to get nasty when it's required. He just doesn't have it in him.
No, okay. And listen, if we're saying that, like, we think Paul Pogba is somebody that is a world-class player but isn't necessarily the Roy Keane, he isn't somebody that should be a leader of the team.
He doesn't function in this team. What I'm trying to say is, at the moment, with the players he's got around him, for him to do his job, he actually needs better players. Like he had Pirlo before.
Ooh.
And Pirlo was a master at sort of just keeping things ticking over, simple, making sure the defense linked up to the attack as that techerista, whatever they call it, that special term. Pogba can't do that. He's not got a Kante like he did in the French squad, where Kante can mop up behind him. He hasn't got Mbappe and Griezmann bombing in front of him. He doesn't have that. Whereas Lukaku's first touch, he might as well start over in Liverpool, and then it might end up back in Old Trafford. So when you're trying to, yesterday he played a ball up to Lukaku. It's like I said, a Hollywood pass from the back. Yeah. And you just think, it's great. It's pinpoint. You clearly can pass the ball well, but it's the wrong decision because you've picked out a player who can't control it, and there's no one around him. So what I'm trying to say is he picks the hard passes to do, which he can do, but unfortunately in the gameplay that Man United want to play, it doesn't work. So at the moment, he just doesn't work.
I gotcha. Doug asked us an interesting question, but with this next set of players, we'll just start kind of burning through them a little bit. But so he asked us if Juventus gave us 120 million for Pogba to let him go, would you? So Drati, would you get rid of him for 120?
Yeah, I think I would at the moment.
Okay, Matthew.
I don't think I've ever been so torn on a player in my life.
Yeah, I get it.
Says, get rid of him. He's clearly not working out at United. But again, like Jossie said, when we get a better squad, he's going to play better. And obviously, assuming we get a manager who plays a more expansive style of football, he's going to be perfectly suited to that. So I think selling him again, the fee's huge, but it might be another missed opportunity. And that'll be another star player that we need to, replace and build a team around again. So personally, no. But I can see why people say yeah.
And that's fair. And like both of you have said, for me, I'm all in on keeping Paul Pogba and making him a center point of the team. But that would also require bringing in a new manager, because I don't think that him and Mourinho are going to get along ever again. I just don't see it happening. So if Mourinho isn't going to be gone by the end of this year, if we sell Pogba, I get it. I don't like it
anyway, though, Andrew. Because even if you do sack Mourinho at the end of the season, Pogba's 26. He wants to win titles. Does he want to be under a new manager, which is going to be in transition again? That's another year that he'll probably waste in his career, because they're not going to win the title in the first year of a new manager. So I don't think he's going to stay anyway. I think even if people wanted him to stay, he won't. It'll be like, well, I'm going to go win trophies elsewhere because it's another transitional period. Why, if you're so-called one of the best midfielders in the world, going to stay at a club which is constantly in transition? It's pointless. And his agent's only going to push him away.
Okay, that's fair. Like, I'll be interested to see what's going to happen. I will. Because if we're going to get a good amount of money for him, I'm kind of okay with letting him go. He's my favorite player at Manchester United right now in terms of an outfield player. But at the end of the day, if we wound up getting rid of Pogba because he doesn't feel like we're going to win titles soon, I get it. I completely get it. But so guys, we're gonna burn through these next set of players. We'll just give me a yes or no, and if you want to add a little bit more, you definitely can. Like you can add a little bit more. So Juan Mata. Sell?
Yep.
Okay, sell. Listen, Juan Mata, I mean, thank you for your service. You've done wonderful things for us. But at the end of the day, you're getting on a bit. I'm okay with letting you go. On like as much as that it pains me to say, I think it's okay to let him go. Jesse Lingard. This one, if you need to talk a little bit more about, I get.
Lingard's just frustrating. He's not world class, but I just keep him just because he knows all about Man United.
Okay, and he is a good rotation player.
Yeah, he's kind of like the Nicky Butt, if you know what I mean.
Yes. Matthew.
Pretty much exactly what Jotty said. Just
okay,
keep him but as a squad player only.
Okay, perfect. Andres Pereira.
Sell.
I mean, Matthew?
Purely because of how his time at United has gone. Sell.
But
talent-wise, keep.
I agree, and I agree with that. Talent-wise, keep, but he has not done it at Manchester United yet. I get that he really hasn't been given chances, but at the end of the day, if you're not going to perform, like if you need to be gone. I personally would keep Andres because he's somebody that I think that under a new manager would be interested. I would be interested in seeing how he would perform. But right now, that's not the position we're in. We don't know what's going to happen, and we don't know if the next manager would even want him. So I'm okay with letting Andres go. It just hasn't worked out. Another interesting one, Fred.
Sell.
I'd keep.
I personally would keep, and the reason being is that I just think that he really hasn't been given his fair shake at Manchester United. That's my opinion. I mean, so just curious, Drawdy, why would you sell him?
I just don't think even when he was at Shakhtar Donetsk, I don't think he was all that. I think he was a very, very good player, but I don't think he's going to work out at United. Just a feeling.
Okay, that's fair. I'd be interested in seeing how he would do getting a consistent run. But, end of the day, if we got rid of him, I wouldn't be heartbroken. So, Ander Herrera is the next one up.
Sorry, Ander. As much as I like you and you're passionate, I'd still get rid of you.
No, that's fair. Matthew?
No, I'd say the same.
I'm the same way. Like, ultimately, his talent doesn't equal his passion, which sucks because I love his passion. But I'm okay with selling Ander Herrera.
I keep him as a mascot, to be fair.
Arthur's the mascot, bro. Come on. As a matter of fact, Arthur, what are you doing, Bubs? You want to come say hi to the people? We're going to keep going down the list. So, Marouane Fellaini.
Keep.
Lifetime contract.
Lifetime contract.
Yeah, I'll agree.
Listen, funny enough, with Fellaini, I'm also at the point where if we kept him as a backup option, I'm okay with it. But if it's anything other than a backup option, get rid of him and get rid of him now. Everybody's favorite Serbian, Nemanja Matic.
Oh, God, I never wanted him in the first place.
I didn't either. Hey, come on.
Still don't want him.
So gone. I mean, Matthew.
Yep, gone.
Gone. Okay. By the way, Arthur says hi, guys. Mwah. Thank you. Mwah. I'm all gone on Nemanja Matic. Get rid of him. Get rid of him now, please, for the love of God. Scott McTominay.
He'll do well at Accrington.
He won't even get into our squad. I'm baffled at the fact he's gone to the Scotland squad. Look, I know we're terrible, but how's he got in there?
I feel like he's won a competition to play at a nice big club.
Exactly. Like, he's won something in a raffle or whatever. And the club have just said, oh, you're a nice guy, let's just play you.
Jay Hart said that truth of truths, King Arthur would be better than Scott McTominay at Manchester United. 100% agree. Arthur be banging in goals for fun for Manchester United.
He'll chase down the ball as well.
Yeah. So, for some reason on the Premier League list, they've got Tahith Chong on here. I mean, I'm all in, keep Tahith Chong.
Yep.
Well, it goes without saying. I mean, we haven't really seen him yet, so you can't sell him anyway.
Very true. Angel Gomez, same thing.
Same.
Yeah.
Ethan Hamilton.
Is that Lewis Hamilton's brother?
I don't know. I don't even know who that is.
5 under 23s games this season, and he doesn't look anything that special, but I don't see why selling him would be anything productive. Might as well give him 1 or 2 games.
Fair enough. And I'm all in on just keeping all the youngsters and letting them get a chance when the next manager comes in, because obviously this manager will never give them a chance. So now we're on to the forwards. Alexis Sanchez.
Sell.
Bye.
Bye. Later. See you, Alexis. Romelu Lukaku.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. See you later, Romelu. I'm fine with all these.
We can have a squad of 7 people.
Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, you have to keep Marcus.
Oh yeah, keep Marcus. I'd start him at the 9.
Yeah, you have to. He needs a run.
Anthony Martial.
Keep.
I'm all in on keeping him. Obviously, Martial's the homie. We all know it. Guys, he's not officially in the squad yet, but Christian Pulisic, keep.
Sell.
He's crap, isn't he?
Listen, I mean, I'm not wearing a Christian Pulisic jersey or anything like that right now. I don't know what you're talking about. Bring him in right now, because he'll be better than what we've already got, guaranteed. But then Josh Boy's on here, which another one I'm just like, keep, whatever. So
I didn't know that.
Guys, it's kind of crazy to see how many people we all agreed were like, hey, just get rid of him. Because we basically would have a squad of like 11 to 12 people.
That's fine. We can run a Pro 5 team.
Yeah, perfect. There we go. Okay, we're going to move on to our next question, which was from our friend Shane Higgs, which is at Shane LT Higgs, Higgs. He asked, of the players, and regardless of captaincy selection, who do you see as the leader in our team at the moment? He says, personally, I don't think we have one. That's a hell of a question. So, I mean, Matthew, let's go to you first.
It's ironic how we just talked about selling him, but if we're talking about captains or leaders or whatever, Herrera's probably the number 1 name. In terms of like passion and understanding what the club's about, those kind of mentality things, he's probably the best in the squad. When it comes to playing, of course, not really. Perhaps David De Gea as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd make him a captain, but in terms of like commanding that back line, if we're to get a better back line in there and you have that kind of understanding between them, De Gea could be a good captain. But so, apart from that, there's no one really.
And I think more what he's asking is, do you think that we actually have a leader in the squad?
Well, yeah. In terms of leadership, not really.
I mean, I look at the leaders of the team, and I think that Paul Pogba is probably the leader of the team. And whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, is a whole other different discussion. But in terms of a leader, I would say that he is probably the leader of the team and of the back room. I mean, do you guys agree with that?
No, I don't see how he could be a leader. He's, like I said, he's too much of a free spirit. A captain is someone who has authority. I don't see Pogba having any authority. I see him having personality, but I don't see him having leadership skills.
I mean, I look at what he did for France, and I know that it's a completely different thing, but he was a leader for that France squad. We all saw it. We all saw his speeches he was giving and everything like that. I personally look at Paul Pogba, and I think that he is, like I said, regardless of whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I think that he probably is the current leader of that dressing room. It's just my opinion. But, I mean, Matthew, what do you think?
He's kind of a leader, but not at the same time. Like, he's obviously got people on the side, and he's a massive figure in the dressing room. But when you think of team leaders, he's not really that kind of person.
Yeah.
If we had to lose the ball or whatever in the crucial area, or if the team just needs a little bit of encouragement, I don't really see him barking orders to players in the same way that Herrera or De Gea would do.
Yeah.
So he's kind of a leader because of who he is and his status rather than what he actually does.
Like I said, it's just, for me, I look at him and I'm like, I'm not saying that it's necessarily the best thing in the world that he's our leader, because I do think that we need a stronger leader, a stronger mentality person to be the leader and the captain of Manchester United. But at the end of the day, right now, Paul Pogba, I view as that person, because I view him as the person that I think that a lot of the players are going to look to when things are going bad. And it's, I don't know if it's down to his price tag, his talent, whatever it is. That's just how I view it. So, but ultimately, I don't know if we have a true, what we would view as like our Roy Keane, type leader. I don't think that we have that at Manchester United right now.
No.
Which that's probably is also what's hurting the team too, is that we don't have that person that is going to gather everybody up and be like, hey, what are we doing? Like, smack people on the back of the head and get them doing what they need to be doing. But so Dan Jones, he brings up a good point. He said you don't have that many proper leaders nowadays in the modern game, which is actually true. So, okay, sorry guys, I lost my point, my place here. So, I think that we're pretty much all in agreement that we really don't have a leader at Manchester United, like a true leader like Roy Keane. Do you guys agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, perfect. All right, so this is our next question. We've only got two more. This is a very interesting one too, because it's kind of on the pro Mourinho side. It's not, but it is. So his question was, it's from @RealIsaiah1, the number 1. Would top 4 and an FA Cup be enough for Mourinho to keep his job? So, Drotty, let's go to you first.
Oh, man. It's Louis van Gaal all over again.
Yeah, seriously.
FA Cup and top 4. Yeah, I think they'd keep him. Because he would have met the requirements of his contract. So they wouldn't then want to pay him out the excess. And they'll probably say it's a successful season, considering how much we spent in the summer. So I don't think he would go if that happened.
I hate hearing that. Matthew?
Would the board keep him? Yeah. Would I keep him? Not for a second.
Yeah, top 4 in FA Cup is not good enough.
Yeah. To be fair, at this current rate, it's an absolute miracle getting top 4. But honestly, regardless of what he does this season, just get rid of him.
Yeah, no.
He's not a Manchester United manager.
Yeah.
In the way he conducts himself, in the way he plays football, Mourinho, I used to love him when he came over to England. Honestly, when he first came over and he was, saying he was the special one, he was funny, he was joking with the media at Chelsea. I saw him and thought he would be great if ever he took over from Sir Alex Ferguson one day. Eventually one day that comes true, and it's been an unmitigated nightmare.
Yeah.
It's like, how has this happened? This man who won La Liga with scoring, I think it was like 115 goals in a season. Record points tally. Cristiano Ronaldo scoring 60 goals in a season under him. It's like Chelsea. Chelsea used to be exciting to watch under Jose. It was a fun time when they had John Terry, Frank Lampard, Drogba. They were a powerful, strong team.
Mm.
And yet somehow Manchester United, it's just turned into this social media meme club. I don't get it.
I mean, I don't get it either, man. And personally, for me, top 4 in FA Cup should not be good enough, especially considering the fact that last year we were in the FA Cup final and he finished second. That's my thing, is he finished second last year. Yes, we were probably the worst second-place finishers ever in the history of the Premier League. But at the end of the day, that should not be good enough for a third season. Just, it's the truth. That should not be good enough. So,
but it will be for the board.
But that's my thing, is I fear that it would be good enough for the board. I do. I fear about that. So, I mean, our next question, it's actually it's a combined question from a couple of people, guys. So it's from @Chris Bennington, which is Bennington with a 6 instead of a G. It's so BENNINGTO6 @Chris that. And so his question is, what is your opinion on Pogba? Which we've kind of talked about this a little bit, and him playing like crap in the last few games. And he said, I want both him and Mourinho gone. And then another part of the question actually comes from Mark White, which is @MarkWhite1972. He asked, do you think that after last night's formation and performances, has Mourinho and Pogba downed tools? So, guys, first off, we talked about Pogba a little bit, but let's actually dive into this a little bit deeper. What are your thoughts about, like, what is going on with Paul Pogba, Jose Mourinho, and their relationship as a whole? I mean, Matthew?
I think a lot of it's based on what headlines you choose to believe.
Mm.
I think both of them have the massive faults at United. It's obvious what Mourinho's faults are. Playing style, doesn't understand the club, all that kind of stuff. We've gone on about it loads of times. But I'm not going to say he's right in calling Paul Pogba a virus. But you can, to some extent, see where he's coming from in terms of he's not this player that United have kind of succeeded having in their squads. That kind of disciplined, hard-working individual player. But I just found the fact that it had to be Jose Mourinho that calls him a virus. Who's probably, Ed Woodward aside, the biggest virus we have at the club.
Mm. No, Paul Pogba, Mourinho is our biggest virus.
I'd say it's Pogba and De Boer, and not Pogba, Mourinho and De Boer pretty much equally, to be honest. I think obviously De Boer are at massive fault for not getting rid of them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, Dradi, I mean, what are your thoughts about that? Do you think that it's just like it's the relationship between the two of them, or is it like what do you think that it is that what's going on with Pogba at the moment?
For all intents and purposes, it should have been a match made in heaven. You know, when Mourinho got the job and his first signing was pretty much Paul Pogba, there was massive hype around United again. It was like, oh my God, we got the best manager in the world and we got the best midfielder in the world. And here we are 3 years on and it's a complete mess. I just don't see how it's going to improve from here, but it's disappointing. And I'm not, on that note, I'm going to have to sign out, lads.
Hey, listen, we're right here at the end anyway. So guys, real quick, we'll say goodbye to Dradi. Dradi, I'll make sure to shout out that you were on the show. Thank you very much for joining us too, man. I really do appreciate it.
No worries, man. Take it easy.
Yeah, we'll get you on again soon, man. We really will.
Peace out.
All right, man, later. But so Andrade got Arthur bored. No, I think Arthur's just bored of us sitting here for so long. So, but listen, I don't know what's going on with Paul Pogba and with Jose Mourinho. We ultimately don't even know if these rumors about Mourinho calling Pogba a virus are true.
See, I'd say it's true.
I would say
purely
it's probably
based on the
true.
fact that why would they choose that particular word, such a specific word like that? Just seems strange that they'd, pluck up that particular sentence or whatever.
Yeah, it just
seems oddly specific.
It does seem oddly specific, but I think it's something that we've probably heard from some people that they might even like. There are definitely some fans out there that will probably think that Paul Pogba is a virus for Manchester United, and it probably goes back to the Sir Alex Ferguson days too. I mean, listen. Ultimately, in the modern day game, I believe that Paul Pogba is somebody that should be one of the best players in the world, and he's got the attitude to be able to do it. But I question whether he wants to do it for Mourinho because of the amount of stick Mourinho gives him. And I've said this analogy so many times, and I'm going to say it again. At the end of the day, if you love the company you're with, but your boss is literally the worst person in the world for you, you're not going to want to go to work. It's just the truth. It's the truth. Now, ultimately, it could all this could be because of a bad agent. We all know what a piece of crap Minariola is. We all know it. But I would keep Pogba before I kept Mourinho, without question. Chris said Roy Keane and Sir Alex didn't always see eye to eye. But he played for the badge, but Pogba doesn't, and it's really disappointing. Listen, it's also different mentalities. I get where you're coming from, Chris, but at the end of the day, it's a different mentality of the modern player. Like, players I'm not even saying that I like it, but players these days, they need to be motivated by their manager to do things. Because at the end of the day, I don't think that, I think it's more about the money for people, which does suck to say. I mean, Matthew, do you agree with that?
Yeah. Can you blame him really for trying to get as much money as possible? It's a short career, but you get paid an absolute bucket load of money if you're at any decent level. Like, Luke Shaw's on 200 grand a week. That, to be honest, says it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem is we've got a modern footballer, but not a modern manager, and they clash so much. One could be in the right, one could be in the wrong, but it's probably some kind of mixture between both of that.
Yes.
Yeah, with Pogba, I think we're all frustrated with him because we know what he can do.
Yeah.
We know that he's capable of being one of the best midfielders in the world. But in terms of potential, time's running out. He's going to turn 26 in March. And that's when you should be really getting into your prime years.
And
he might be an early bloomer as well.
What I was going to say is, I think that if we are getting the best Paul Pogba, that he is somebody that can take Manchester United to that next level. He has that level of talent.
You see what the guy did at 22 when he was at Juventus. He had been, I think that was his third season at Juventus when he was 22, and one of the best midfielders in the world. Compare that to Scott McTominay, who's 22 years old, and we all know he's useless.
Yeah. Well, and so Vandy,
such a difficult situation.
Vandy Candy had a great comment here. We have more job options now, especially if you are talented. If you're a top talent, there's always somebody ready to hire you, and that's absolutely true. And ultimately, we've talked about this on this show before, that we haven't gotten the Paul Pogba that was at Juventus. We've gotten a completely different Paul Pogba now.
Oh yeah.
I personally believe that that's due to a style and a system, not down to Paul Pogba himself. I mean, do you agree with that, Matthew?
To some extent, I just think it's such a difficult situation to evaluate because you've got people on one side saying, "Oh yeah, he's the biggest problem in our club right now. He doesn't put in any effort," and then there's other people who almost don't want to criticise him whatsoever. And it's just such a difficult thing to evaluate because there's so much media speculation, and with such huge amounts of speculation from the media, we kind of get drawn into it, and we don't really know what's fact and what's just complete bullshit, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Jay Hart. I mean, if Pogba was a crap player, he would also be crap for his national team, which that's obviously not the case. And then Chris Alley said, exactly, if he didn't, Pogba didn't just lose his talent overnight. It must be down to the system. Listen, guys. I mean, we're kind of wrapped up with our discussion points here, but honestly, we're at a weird point with Manchester United, and I know Matthew agrees with me on this. Because we've reached this point where we don't know who to trust. There was a point in time where we trusted Sir Alex Ferguson over everybody. And there are some people that still, and I know those people, there are some people that still will trust the manager over anybody else. And I get that mentality because you haven't gotten out of that Sir Alex Ferguson mentality. But at the end of the day, we're in a new era of football. We are. We're in an era where the players have more power than the manager. And whether that's a good thing or a bad thing is a whole – that could literally be an hour-long show in itself. Easily. Like, very easily. But at the end of the day, we're in a different era of football. And that's why it's my opinion that Mourinho and you guys can literally go to my Twitter feed. It's my pinned tweet that Mourinho with this squad is not a good fit. Mourinho does not have the ability and the mentality that goes with the modern player. It sucks, but it's the truth. We need somebody that will get the best out of the modern player, the players that we have, that have a more modern-day mentality. And until we do that, I believe that we are going to continue to struggle and we will continue to be in a fight for top four. It's just my opinion. But Matthew, I mean, do you want to give some final thoughts on the show?
That was a good thought. That was a good show, really. Covered quite a lot of topics, particularly that big spicy Pogba debate. It was good that we actually got Jotty on because I think some people have seen in his Twitter that he's had some rants about Pogba, and whether you agree with them or not, they're somewhat valid to an extent. But no, it was a good show. Good few debates here and there.
Yeah.
Thanks to everyone for the questions as well.
Yes, I mean, real quick, let me open back up my notebook here. Again, thank you very much to Jay Pearson, Doug Horn, Shane Higgs, Isaiah, Chris Bennington, and Mark White. Thank you guys for your discussion points. Genuinely, thank you. You guys can find them on my Twitter feed. Go to the tweet where I was asking for discussion points. You guys can find them. But Matt, as always, Matthew, thank you for joining me. All of his stuff is in the description. All of it's in the description. But, guys, Matthew's store is growing fast. And I suggest you get your posters now before he has to start raising prices. I mean,
I'll tell you what, I think tomorrow's the last day that I can ship to America that's guaranteed to get there before Christmas.
Well, there you go.
The ironic thing is, when you were talking about Real Madrid, I actually just got a Real Madrid poster order. As soon as you were talking about it, I was a Modric one. I thought, it's a bit strange how someone wants to get a Real Madrid poster at the moment when they've just been spanked by Moscow. But okay, it does, it gives me money, so I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, fair enough. George, okay, fine. George, you get your thank you. Thank you, George. But in reality, thank you so much to everybody that joined us live today. I mean, Mr. Exclusive, Vandy Candy, Christopher Alley, Jay Hart, Football Crew Show, Saeed, Chris Bennington, Dan Jones. There's honestly, George Kyle, there's so many of you that joined us live. Pancash, I'm literally scrolling through. Ryan Beals. There was so many people that joined us live today, and we had up to 20 some odd people watching live. genuinely thank you guys for joining us. Like, just genuinely thank you. These Manchester United shows are always fun, and we always manage to pop up with the random guests, don't we? Because Drawdy joined us late, but he did join us. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Genuinely, I love you guys. Just thank you for everything that you guys have done. And I'm honestly, like, with this new job that I'm starting, I'm sad that I'm not going to be able to be live as much as I have been in the past, but I'm still going to join you guys live whenever I can. But guys, I hope you have a good night, a good day, wherever you're at and whatever you're doing. Just please keep doing you, because genuinely, you guys are awesome. Thank you guys. Looking forward to the show tomorrow.